Hello, welcome to this presentation in which you see how to deploy and create a new virtual machine, or VM, using an ISO file. After the VM is created, it is saved as a template and shared with other users for server deployments. The self-service administrator prepares the software library, creates templates, assemblies, and ISO components, and publishes the templates and assemblies for self-service users. ISO files enable the self-service administrator to create VMs, which can be configured to meet specific needs in their cloud. The template created from the Configure from ISO VM is handled differently in the library than an imported template. This process is shown in the gray box, where steps after importing the ISO component are different but end up providing the template to the self-service users. The following demonstration takes you through the processes of deploying the ISO in Oracle Enterprise Manager Cloud Control, building the guest operating system, and finally, saving and sharing the guest as a template with self-service users. In this session, I'm logged in as the self-service administrator. The ISO component has been saved and uploaded into the software library. However, to deploy it into a VM, it is necessary to navigate to the Oracle Enterprise Manager Cloud Control interface to the Oracle VM virtualization environment. Start by clicking on the Enterprise menu, through the Cloud option, and click on Oracle VM Infrastructure Home. On the Infrastructure Cloud interface that appears, open the target navigation tree, locate and display the zone for the tenant in which you work. Right-click the zone name and click the Deploy ISO option. The ISO deployment sequence begins. On the first page, use the default target, Sales Marketing. Under the source label, click the magnifying glass next to the ISO input to search for the desired ISO file. When the dialog box appears, select the ISO you want to work with. Here, select Oracle Linux 7 Update 6. You see that this ISO file is the only software library component visible on the list. Click Select. With the ISO file in place, click Next. The Instance Details page appears. Here is where you configure the VM parameters, including CPUs, memory, storage, and network. We retain the one guest VM setting for this exercise. We change the guest VM name to OL7U6-SM-VM, which should make the VM easier to spot later. Check Enable High Availability. Uncheck the option to start the VM after creation. We do this because we want to perform additional configuration before we start it up. Change the domain type to Xen HVM with PV drivers. Under the NIC, click on the list item for the ETH0 interface. Then click Edit. When the Edit dialog box appears, click the small magnifying glass to search for available networks. After the network selector appears, click on the Custom Selection option. Scroll the display to see all the options. At the bottom of the list, select 52 PVI, which is an internal inter-server network, and click OK. With the network selected, click OK to dismiss the Edit Network Interface dialog. You can add storage to the new deployment. Under Disk, click the Add button and the Add Storage Device dialog box appears. Enter a name, App Disk. Enter the size in megabytes, 12,000, and do not use a comma. Retain the remaining settings and click OK. Retain all other settings at this time and click Review. The Review page shows all the settings at once. You can create a deployment plan at this time if you want to use the same set of configuration parameters to create another ISO deployment. Click Save as Plan. Provide a name for the deployment plan. Because this deployment is on the 52 PVI, name the plan OL7U6 PVI52. Click on the Software Library folder where you want the plan to reside. Here, click a Sales folder, then click OK. A confirmation message appears. Click OK to dismiss the message. Now, click Submit to begin the deployment. When the confirmation message appears, click Job Details so you can monitor the job. On the Job Activities page, set the auto refresh interval to 15 seconds and monitor the execution status. After the job completes, return to the Oracle VM Infrastructure home. Recall we unchecked the option to start the server, so here, click on the number next to the red down arrow next to the server status. On the list of servers, locate and select the server OL7U6SMVM. Click on the Action menu, navigate through Guest VMs, and click Edit. The Guest VM interface appears for the selected server. Click the Other Configurations tab. On this page, select an appropriate operating system type. Here, select Oracle Linux 7. Under the Advanced section, select the USB tablet as the mouse type. This setting allows us to configure the Oracle Linux operating system through the console with the Guest Graphic User Interface. You can enter tag values that are helpful when you have many objects to manage. Use tags to limit some displays in Oracle Enterprise Manager Cloud Control. Here, enter SMVM. Click OK, and click Close on the confirmation message that appears. To build the Oracle Linux Guest, we return to the Self-Service portal. Click on the Enterprise menu, navigate through the Cloud option, and click on Self-Service Portal. On the Cloud Services page, click on Infrastructure Oracle VM Cloud Services. Start the server by first selecting the server on the list of the 10 last requested servers. Click the Action menu and click on Start. Click Start on the confirmation page. An informational message appears, so dismiss it by clicking on the small X in the upper right corner. After a short wait, refresh the display by clicking the circular arrow at the upper right side of the list. With the ISO file in place and the basic server parameters set, use the VM console to configure the guest VM. So, after the server starts, select the server again, then click the Action menu and then click the Launch VNC Console option. The console appears in another browser window. At this time, configure the guest operating system. We will remove much of the configuration activity and delays from this demonstration, but we will take a look at a few settings. Recall that we added an extra 12 GB disk to this VM, so we need to specify which of the 2 disks for this VM we want as the installation destination. Click on the installation destination icon for device selection. On the device selection page, click on the 10 GB disk, then click Done in the upper left corner of the screen. Click on Begin Installation. While the installation takes place, set the root password. Click on Root Password. Then enter the root password the first time. Then confirm the root password by entering it a second time. Click Done and continue to monitor the installation. After the installation completes, click Reboot and dismiss the browser window displaying the VNC console. Next, prepare the VM to be saved as a template. This involves removing the ISO from the configuration, so we have to stop it. Click on the VM name. On the VM display, click the Server menu and click Stop. Click Stop on the confirmation page. The VM display returns with an informational message. Click the small X in the upper right corner to dismiss it. Refresh the display by clicking the circular arrow at the upper right side of the display. Now that the status indicates stopped by the red down arrow, click the Server menu, then Modify Configuration. On the Modify Configuration page, select the ISO device on the storage list in the lower right portion of the screen. Then click Delete. Click OK on the confirmation. As you can see, the page to modify configuration allows you to change other parameters such as memory and number of CPUs. Click OK. The VM display returns with an informational message. Click the small X in the upper right corner to dismiss it. Now, click on the Server menu and click on Save as Template. On this page, provide a name for the template. Here, input OL7U6-SM-template. Retain all other settings and click OK. The VM display returns with an informational message. Click the small X in the upper right corner to dismiss it. Return to the self-service portal. Navigate from the Enterprise menu through the Cloud option and click on Self-Service Portal. On the Cloud Services page, click on Infrastructure, Oracle VM Cloud Services. When the Self-Service Portal appears, click on the Library icon at the left side of the screen to display library components. Locate and select the template on the list display. Now, click Share at the top of the list. In the Select and Share dialog box, you can share the template with specified users or specified roles. Select the Role option from the Type menu, then click Search to rearrange names on the list below. Hold the Control key and click on the Sales Self-Service Admin and Sales Self-Service User roles. Then click Select. The library display returns with an informational message. Click the small X in the upper right corner to dismiss it. The template is now shared and available to users with the selected roles. This ends the presentation. Thank you for watching.